All right, good morning. I'm going to do a brief demonstration about how to use the library databases. If you've done the readings for this week, then you already have an idea of what a database is and why you might want to use one over the internet. But I'll do a quick recap of that. Is the information on the internet, anyone can post anything. So you really have to work twice as hard to filter out what are good sources and what aren't. When you search for information in the library database, a lot of that is already filtered out for you. You still need to think about the information where it's coming from, but a lot of the crap is already filtered out. Another advantage is that through the library, you can get access to content for free that normally you'd have to pay for because the school is already paying for it with your tuition money. So you might as well take advantage of it. You can also access academic journal articles, which are longer, more in-depth resources that are written by people who are experts in their field. So that's some of the highest quality information, and maybe some of the most accurate information you can find on any given topic. However, it is generally written for people who are also experts in that field, so sometimes it can be hard to read through. All right, I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you how to um, use the library. So let's see, screen share. All right, so when you go to the NECC homepage, click on library, and that brings you to this screen. And hold on a minute, I'm just gonna pause this. All right, I'm back, sorry about that. I just spaced out. All right, I am still recording. Good. Sorry about that. All right, so once you get to this screen, you have the search bar here. What can we help you find today? Books, movies, articles, facts. If you click on books and movies, you're going to be searching for, well, books and movies, things that some of them are ebooks, a lot of them are things that you would need to actually physically go to campus to pick up. So I'm going to search for articles. This is mostly what you're going to use when you're doing research for college essays. And so I know at least two people are writing about social media and anxiety or something related to that anyway. So I'm going to do a search for that under articles. All right. So when you do a search, if you're off campus, you have to log in. So your 14-digit library code is this number 203850, and then your student ID number. And you don't put the plus sign in, you just write it out all as one number. And if it's your first time logging in, you use your birth date as your password, the month, day, and the year. With the faculty, the numbers aren't exactly the same, so I'm not using the exact same kind of login as you. All right, so once you put that information in, you get to a page that looks like this. So with social media and anxiety, I got 514 results. So it's not too bad. Since social media is a fairly new thing, I want to make sure that my references that I'm using are recent. So where it says limit to, I'm going to I only want articles from the past 10 years. So I'm going to change this date to 2010. I don't want anything from the 1970s about social media, that's for sure. So now I have only 407 results. And if I look at my first three results, you can see two different kinds of sources. One says periodical, the other says academic journal. The periodical is some type of newspaper, magazine, or magazine made for general audiences. Sometimes this is called a popular source. The academic journal article is the one I was talking about before that's written by experts for experts. So I'm going to click on one of each so you can get an idea of what the difference between the two are. So if I click on the periodical, does technology make us lonely? It's just shows it right in the browser, and it's a fairly short article. I could also click on the PDF, and that would show me what it would have looked like in its original print form. And this one was in Scholastic magazine. So go back to the results list. And I'm going to click on the academic journal article so you can see what that looks like. Now, even just from this like first landing page, the other one had one author. This one has a lot of authors. And it has an abstract. The abstract is a summary of the article, so you can read the summary to decide if you want to read the article or not. And then looks like this one also does have the whole thing down here, but it's not as long as some. And you can also, again, click on the PDF and see what it would have looked like in its print form. This one doesn't have as many pictures or graphics in it, though it does have a lot of graphs and charts, lots of data, and the long reference list, which the popular journal didn't have. Let's look at one more. Social media use, friendship quality, and the moderating role of anxiety in adolescents with autism spectrum disorder. That's a really specific one, which is what does happen a lot with academic journal articles, because they're on very focused topics usually. And this one is 10 pages. This one's a bit longer. This is a more typical looking academic journal article. It's broken down into different sections too. So there's an introduction, there's a methods, almost looks a little bit like a lab report. And sometimes if the stuff in the methods or the like the data part is too overwhelming, if you feel like you're reading something that's in a completely different language, then it's okay to skip parts of it with these. The things that you're most likely to quote in your essay are probably going to be down near the results or the discussion. Probably most of it will be in the discussion. That's probably where you'll find the best quotes. It's obviously ideal if you can read the whole thing, but if you can't get through all the data and stuff, then go read the introduction, read the discussion, and skim the other parts. This is the one time where I'm giving you permission to not necessarily read the whole article. One other cool thing about using the database, actually I want to stay on the article, is that it's really easy to make your works cited page after. If you go over to where it says tools, there's this button that says cite. So if you click cite, it gives you different citation formats. So we're using MLA. So you just find MLA and you take that and you copy and paste it onto your works cited page. So you don't have to worry about figuring out how to format or how to set up the works cited entry. It's already done. You just copy it. You still have to make your in-text citations, but those are easy. That's just the author's last name and the page number. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the results list. So this topic was already fairly focused. 500 results can still be a lot to go through, but it's not millions. If I wanted to narrow this down a little bit more, I could add children to the mix. I think one of your topics is about, one person's topic is specifically social media anxiety in children or something like that. And that brings you down to a list of 70 results. And that's small enough that you could scroll through, all 7 pages and skim the titles and get an idea of whether or not any of these are going to work for your topic or not. And a lot of these, some of these might be so specific that they're actually on a different subject. Some might be unrelated and the search just thinks they're related. Others might be exactly what you're looking to see. Can do another search as an example. So say, let's do another popular one. Let's do climate change. Waste. So if, say, you were writing about looking for ways to reduce climate change by reducing waste, you might put climate change and waste, that the first couple of results, food waste in the city, composting, fighting climate change, and creating energy, that would be related. But then you also get some things that are, you might be writing about the US, but then you're getting articles about Canada and other countries. So you could limit that to climate change, waste, United States. And that brings you down to 760 results. That narrows it down a little bit more. We're already still within the past 10 years. If you want to, say you already have your magazine or newspaper, you want to just search for academic journals, and you can check off academic journal, and it will only show you academic journals. On the other hand, say you didn't want academic journals and you only wanted magazines, then you would only check magazines and you would only get magazines. So you can make this, database work in a lot of different ways for you. You can narrow it down to different subjects. I'm going to go back to all results for a minute. I'll click on this polluter pays. Sometimes if I find an article that I really like, but a lot of the other sources in that list that came up aren't related, I look at the subject terms. And if, say I was looking at the legal side of it or something, and I wanted to learn more about environmental protection lawsuits, I could click on that and it would give me stories that were, not stories, articles that were related to lawsuits and environmental protection. And it gave me a much smaller list. So sometimes if you find an article you really like that you think will really work for your topic, then, by going to the subject terms and clicking on one of those, it'll bring you to more similar articles, or you can use those and put them up here and then combine them with other things. So that's the gist of this one particular database. There are others. I will briefly talk about those. You would get to them the same way. You go to the library, and go to research resources, research database, and then it gives you an A to Z list of all the databases. Academic Search Premier is the one that it default brought you to when you used that other search box. If you want to use videos for your essay, this academic video online is a good one if you don't want to actually read something, you just want to watch something. This is a database of mostly short documentaries. Some are long. Well, okay, I'm saying they're short, and then this one's an hour. This one's 27 minutes, so I guess they're not short. There used to be a different database of shorter ones. But so this is a documentary of videos that you can see if there's any on your topic. Let's do the social media and anxiety and see if anything comes up. Yeah, some things about social media come up, where we could do, I'm sure if I just typed in climate change by itself, it would be a huge list because that's a broad topic. So go with the idea of reducing your waste. It's hard to tell how specific these videos are in relation to the keywords, but it's usually with these search engines, it's just a matter of figuring out the right combination of words to put in. Another one that can be useful sometimes is opposers. If you're looking to get different perspectives on your topic, opposing viewpoints will have articles about a specific issue, and they'll set it up so you get different perspectives on it. Say I went to police reform. It'll break it down into academic journals about police reform, images, magazines, videos, statistics, references, audio, website, infographics, news, viewpoints. If you click on the viewpoints, that's where it kind of breaks it down into different perspectives, where the others are just general sources about that topic. And there's even some videos here, there's even audio. So again, if you want to get sources that you can listen to, you don't want to just read them, then this is a good place also to find video or audio. So for the academic journal requirement for your paper, that will have to be either something from here where it says academic journal, or something from this database where it says academic journal. But for your other sources, it doesn't have to be text. It could be a video, it could be a podcast. You probably noticed that this essay asked for 4 different kinds of sources: a website, some type of video, a TED Talk. I had put a TED Talk on the assignment, but I know not every topic has a TED Talk. So a video from one of these databases would work too, a magazine or newspaper article, and an academic journal. So at the minimum, you have 4 sources, each is a different kind of source. You're welcome to use more than that though. But for the purpose of, meeting the assignment requirements, you need one source as a website, one that's a magazine or newspaper or some other kind of popular periodical, one that's an academic journal, one that is some type of video or audio. If you can't find a video or audio, then just find a second article or second website, whatever works best for your topic. Some topics are easier to find different. There's some topics where you might not find many academic journal articles. There's some topics where you might mostly want academic journal articles. It varies a little bit. All right. So if at any point you have any questions about this database, about searching in the library, you can send me an email. You can also meet with the librarians. I'm going to go to the NECC library page again. There's a couple different ways to get help from the librarians. One is to text them. And there's a phone number you can text them at. As long as it's within their business hours, they will reply to you promptly. You can also chat with them. And that brings you to this little chat box, and you put in your whatever name you want, whether you want research help or technology help, and then your question, and then it'll be a live chat with someone. You can also make an appointment to meet with a librarian. So you click virtual appointment for research assistants, and you could pick no preference, or if you've worked with librarians before and there's one that you want to work with again, you can click that person's name, and then it shows the different days and times you can make an appointment for. If you're struggling to find sources and you need help, I recommend making an appointment with one of the librarians. While I can help, this is like their job. Their main job is helping people find information and organizing information. So if anyone's going to find you the right kind of sources on your topic, the librarians are the ones that are the best to help with that. They can also help you if you are having trouble with citations. They can help you with that. They can teach you how to use Noodle Tools, which is a program similar to EasyBib, but a little bit better, that will make your works cited page for you. So they're a good resource to get in touch with, and they like working with students. So that's part of their job too. But so I definitely encourage you to make an appointment with the librarian, or at least, text them or do the live chat if you need help finding sources. If you can't get in touch with the librarian, I can help. The writing tutors can help a little bit. One other thing you might notice, I'm just going to point this out while I'm on this page too, is that they do have an appointment. You can make an appointment for a technology assistant. So if you are having trouble with Microsoft Word on your computer, with getting things to attach right, if you're having trouble with Blackboard still, you can make an appointment to talk to somebody about technology issues as well. And those might be slightly different people, but that's their job, is to help students with technology. So, all right. Well, that's it for today. And like I said, if you have any questions, definitely send me an email. And otherwise, have a good rest of your week. I hope you're staying safe and healthy. Bye.